that is rented, leased, or under the exclusive use of the Department of Education, the SSAC, a county school board, or local public school for the time in which the function is occurring. 8, at a private function taking place in a specific area on the property of the institution that is rented, leased, or under the exclusive use of an entity not affiliated with the institution for the time period it is occurring. Any place where the possession of a firearm is prohibited by state or federal law, in areas specifically designated for patient care or mental health counseling, in high hazardous and animal laboratories, and in on-campus residence halls, except common areas such as lounges, dining areas, and study areas. Employees of institutions of higher ed with a current and valid license to carry a concealed weapon whose employment responsibility require them to be in on-campus residence halls may carry there in those buildings a concealed pistol or revolver for business purposes only. Or I should say employment purposes, pardon me. A state institution of higher ed must provide either a secure location for the storage of a pistol or revolver in at least one of the institution's on-campus residence halls, or provide an appropriate safe that may be installed in the residence room in any of the on-campus residence halls. Should West Virginia University choose not to have safes, it is required to have secure locations at least 2 on-campus residence halls and 1 each at the Beckley and Kaiser campuses. The state institution of higher ed may charge a reasonable fee for use of the locker locations or safes. The bill prohibits the carrying of a pistol or revolver which is partially or wholly visible and intentionally or knowingly displaying the firearm in plain view of another person in such a way or manner as to cause or threaten a breach of the peace. The holder of the permit would, for violation thereof, would be subject to criminal as well as administrative penalties. The bill requires state institutions of higher ed to file an annual report by the 15th of December of every year with the Joint Committee on Government and Finance, referencing implementation of the bill, which is known as the Campus Self-Defense Act. The internal effective date for this is July 1, 2020. There is a fiscal note which should be uploaded to you all, and this bill is second reference to the Committee on Finance. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Tom. Councilor, we have before us a proposed strike and insert amendment. Are there substantive changes from the original House bill to the strike and insert amendment?
No, sir. The staff at the chairman's direction and with the assistance of the chairman went through and made purely technical corrections.
All right. Well, let's open it up now for questions of our council from members of the committee. Senator from the 8th, Kanawha.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Smith, I saw the fiscal note, and I think you mentioned it, of 11 million or thereabouts, 11.5 or 11.6 to start off with.
Pardon me. Yes, sir.
Okay. Does that take into consideration any insurance costs involved with allowing folks to conceal carry on campus?
My knowledge would be limited to the information on the fiscal note, Senator. And as I look at what is listed there, I don't see insurance referenced.
And the reason why I bring it up is I saw that another state that had adopted this, it was about $13 million to start up once the law passed, but then around $3 to $4 million every year annually in insurance premiums and or costs. Does that sound right, or do you have any reason to disagree with that?
I don't have enough knowledge to either agree or disagree, Senator.
Thank you, sir.
Other questions of our council? If not, what we'll do now is we'll open the floor for amendments to the bill or discussion of the bill, and I guess we'll start by recognizing the senator from Brooke.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I move the strike and insert amendment to the bill.
All right, so the question before the committee is the motion by the senator from Brooke County that the committee adopt the proposed strike and insert amendment, and we'll pause there and open it up for amendments to the amendment or discussion of the amendment. Senator from the 6th.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Actually, I was going to talk to Tom. He's out of the room. Sorry I didn't hit my button fast enough for questions of council. I think he'll be back.
I think we can find him.
I'm so sorry. Yes, sir.
That's okay. Thank you, Tom. So you're going to be required to have a concealed carry permit in order to carry on campus. Do you have an idea of how much percentage of college-age students have a concealed carry permit now?
No, sir.
Okay.
I do not.
So I
And
did
it
a
would
little
be either I believe the bill, as it comes before the committee, is either the standard, if you will, concealed carry permit or a provisional.
I guess for a provisional or a standard concealed carry permit, either one. I did a little research, and I want to make sure I've got these facts right. They can't be addicted to or an unlawful user of alcohol, controlled substances, or other drugs.
Yes, sir.
And they can't be convicted of a felony or not have been convicted of a misdemeanor crime, violence involving use of a deadly weapon in order to have the concealed carry permit, right?
Yes, sir. I believe that's correct.
And they can't be convicted of a misdemeanor crime of domestic violence
Yes, sir.
and not currently subject to either a temporary or final domestic violence protective order.
Yes, sir. I would note that most, if not all, of the things the senator mentioned prohibit anybody from possessing a firearm, whether they have a concealed carry permit or not.
And I just said a couple other things: no indictment, not under indictment for any felony, and not be on probation for any other form of judicial supervision for any misdemeanor, not have been adjudicated mentally incompetent by any court, or be physically or mentally competent to, you have to be physically and mentally competent to carry a concealed weapon, I guess, in order to get your concealed carry permit. And also, lastly, you have to have successfully completed one of several specified forms of handgun training, I guess, in order to get your concealed carry permit. Is that right?
Yes, sir. The latter is as to a permit. Again, most of the other things you've mentioned are applicable to anyone being allowed to possess a firearm,
But I guess this is only, you have to have those, though, in order to get your concealed carry permit, in order to actually be able to carry on campus, though, right?
you would have to have either the provisional or
Yeah.
a
Okay.
standard concealed carry. The senator is correct.
Okay. All right. All right, thanks, Tom. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. Senator from the 8th, Putnam.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I kind of want to follow it up on the junior senator from the 8th question, Tom. You know, we just got off the floor on the budget. This $11.5 million, is it factored in the budget, or does the universities have to bear this cost?
Senator, it's an ongoing joke, but it's true. There's a reason I work at Judiciary. I know nothing about taxes, and Lord knows I don't know anything about the budget, but candidly, I don't know.
Okay. All right. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Other questions of council, or our pending question is on the motion to adopt the strike and insert. Senator from Jefferson County.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Council,
Yes, ma'am.
on page 54, line 96, it says, "And no liability for any such actions of such person shall be imputed to the institution of higher education unless the state institution of higher education has expressly requested or directed such person to carry." Doesn't that essentially release the institution from any liability?
May I have just a second, sir?
Of course.
It's a bit, I would defer to those who know more about civil work than I do, but I think it's a bit more subtle than that. It doesn't necessarily, as I read it, negate any liability to an institution, but what it says is when a person exercises the right to do this, it's not the decision to do it and the behavior they're engaging in while doing it are not imputed to the school.
Yes.
Unless the institution has expressly requested or directed the person to carry, so it'd mostly be an employee. Yeah. And again, I would defer on that. The design is clearly to limit the liability of the institution, but I wouldn't read that to immunize the institution.
Okay. Thank you, counsel.
Other questions of our counsel? Are there amendments to the amendment? Discussion of the proposed strike and insert amendment? If not, put the question. All in favor of the proposed strike and insert amendment signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? No. The ayes appear to have it. The ayes do have it. So we'll declare the strike and insert amendment adopted. And I will recognize the senator from Brooke.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I move that House Bill 2519 be reported to the full Senate with a recommendation that it do pass.
Question before the committee is the motion by the senator from Brooke County that House Bill 2519, as now amended by this committee, be reported to the full Senate with recommendation for passage of the bill. Is there discussion as to the motion to report? If not, we'll put the question. All in favor of the motion to report, say aye. Aye. Opposed? No. Chair is in doubt. Division's been requested. Those in favor of the motion to report the bill, raise your hand, and the clerk will please count them.
Seven, Mr. Chairman.
Those opposed to the motion to report, raise your hand.
8, Mr. Chairman.
So,
9? I'm sorry, would you all do that again?
those
Chairman,
opposed.
I'm corrected, it is 9.
So would you have 7 ayes, 9 nays? Is that it? Or 7?
7 yes, 9 nay.
Say it again.
7 yes, 9 no.
That's 16, and we have 1 member absent. So, okay. On this question, 7 ayes, 9 nays, less than a majority of the members having voted in the affirmative, I declare the motion to report rejected. The next bill on our agenda is House Bill 2694.